Level 1. The summons. Your phone vibrates at 4:47 a.m. No caller ID. You answer because you were told, during orientation 6 weeks ago, that you always answer. The voice on the other end gives you a 4-digit code, 0914, and hangs up. You already know what it means. Sector breach, sub-level archive, non-scheduled access detected. You dress in under 90 seconds. By the time you reach the bronze door at the base of the Apostolic Palace, your hands are steady, but your chest isn't. You are a custos primarius, the lowest classification within the Corpo della Custodia Archivistica, the body nobody outside these walls officially acknowledges. Your access card opens 2 of the 14 magnetic checkpoints. You know the smell of this corridor: cold stone, machine oil, and something older underneath, like compressed paper slowly turning to carbon. You stand at your post. You do not ask what triggered the alarm. You learn quickly that asking questions at level 1 is how you stop being level 1 and start being nothing at all. The invisible rule reveals itself without announcement. Your job is not to find answers. Your job is to make sure no one else does either. Level 2. The routine. 3 months in, the 4:47 calls stop feeling like emergencies. You are assigned to the Fondo Riservato rotation, a 6-hour shift monitoring climate-controlled vault corridors where temperature is fixed at 16.5 degrees Celsius and humidity at 50%, non-negotiable. 1 degree of variance triggers a silent alert to the prefect's office. You carry a RFID scanner and log every movement of every document trolley using the internal system called Archivum 9. You do not read the documents, you scan the trolleys. You notice that certain trolleys are never logged by anyone else, only routed through checkpoint 7, only between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. You note this: you file nothing. The invisible rule at this level is simpler than you expected. What you see and what you report are 2 separate professional decisions. You begin making them separately. Level 3. First trust. You are handed a secondary access credential, a biometric card, thumb and index finger, right hand only, that opens sub-corridor 4C. Your supervisor, a man named Brower, who has worked here for 19 years and smiles exactly once per week, tells you that 4C contains what he calls temporally sensitive materials. He does not elaborate. You do not ask. The corridor smells like iron and old lacquer. Inside are document boxes labelled with Vatican fiscal codes you recognise from the annual internal ledger summaries, IOR transaction references, pre-2013 reconciliation files, third-party correspondent bank identifiers. You are not reading them, you are guarding them, but your eyes work the same whether you intend them to or not. You start to realise that the system does not accidentally give you access to things. Every clearance is a test of what you will do with what you see. Level 4. The compact. This is where it changes. You are asked, not ordered. The distinction matters because it gives you the illusion of agency, to countersign a transfer log for a document set that officially does not exist within Archivum 9. The set is physically real. You hold it, you sign, Brower witnesses, no one speaks. The pen is heavy. Afterward, you are given a new designation code, CK4, which grants you access to the restricted personnel files and the internal communications channel, designated Sigillum, used only above level 3. The invisible rule crystallizes. The moment you countersign something that isn't logged, you are no longer a witness to the system. You are part of its architecture. There is no version of this moment you can walk back. Level 5. Operational authority. You now supervise 4 level 1 and 2 level 2 custodians. You write their performance evaluations. You control their rotation schedules, which means you control who is present during which movements and who isn't. This is not stated as power. It is framed as administrative responsibility. The distinction is deliberate. You begin conducting what the internal protocol manual calls discretionary corridor audits. Unannounced inspections you can initiate without prefect approval, using a code designated in the manual as Procedura Nera. You have used it twice. Both times, the corridor was empty when it shouldn't have been. Both times, you filed a report that described the corridor as compliant. The smell of your office, a small room adjacent to checkpoint 11, is black coffee and synthetic carpet adhesive, every day, unchanging. You stop noticing it. You stop noticing a lot of things. Level 6. The silence economy. At level 6, money enters the conversation. Not crudely, not in envelopes, but structurally. You are made aware of what the internal financial compliance officer refers to as custodial discretionary allocation, a quarterly budget line of approximately €34,000 routed through a sub-account of the Governatorato. It funds equipment. Officially. What it actually funds is a parallel incentive system for select personnel, access bonuses, transfer approvals, silence retained through material comfort rather than threat. You do not distribute this money. You approve the framework that does. You start to realize that coercion at this level is not theatrical. It is bureaucratic. It is so embedded in process that no individual act looks wrong in isolation. That is the design, the invisible rule at level 6. The system does not corrupt you. It reclassifies your behavior as administrative. Level 7. Identity compression. People who knew you before, colleagues from your previous posting, a cousin who works in the Vatican Museum's administration, begin describing you differently. They use words like remote and careful. You register this feedback and feel nothing actionable about it. You have begun thinking in procedural terms, even in conversation. Risk assessment, information compartmentalization, disclosure thresholds. Your personal relationships have not ended. They have simply deprioritized themselves, the way a background process does when a system allocates resources elsewhere. At level 7, your Sigillum channel access expands to include communications between the prefect and 2 external legal consultants, whose names appear nowhere on any Vatican public record. You read these messages as part of your role. You treat them the way you treat humidity readings, data requiring monitoring, not moral evaluation. Level 8. The prefect's threshold. Brower retires. You do not attend the gathering. You are already managing the transition because 3 days before his last day, the prefect, a man you have spoken to exactly 7 times in 4 years, calls you directly and says only, "The continuity is yours." You understand this means that Brower's undocumented responsibilities, his informal access routes, his off-Archivum 9 coordination with an external document preservation consultancy in Zurich, now pass to you without paperwork, without ceremony, without acknowledgement. The weight of this is abstract. You feel it the way you feel barometric pressure, present, measurable, unspectacular. The invisible rule at level 8 is the one no one survives ignoring. Continuity is the institution's highest value. Individuals are how it stores that continuity temporarily. Level 9, total integration. You no longer have a shift, you have a presence. You're available on Sigillum at all hours. Your biometric profile opens 11 of the 14 checkpoints. The 3 remaining require a dual key protocol involving the prefect himself. A formality you understand will dissolve when the prefect eventually steps back and the dual key becomes a single key in your hand. At this level, you have overseen the quiet removal of 2 custodians whose behavior fell outside acceptable parameters. No disciplinary hearings, no documentation, reassignment, in both cases, to postings outside Italy. You approved the transfer requests in under 4 minutes each. You remember doing it. You do not remember hesitating. The corridors smell like nothing to you now. Sensory input has become information rather than experience. This is efficient. You understand that this is efficient, and you move on. Level 10. The system. You are sitting in the prefect's former chair, your chair now, though no announcement was made, when the notification arrives. Sector breach, sub-level archive, non-scheduled access detected. The time is 4:47 a.m. You do not move immediately. You watch the alert on the Sigillum terminal for exactly 12 seconds. Then you pick up an internal line and call a 4-digit number. Someone answers on the second ring. You give them a code, 0914, and hang up. Somewhere in the building, a level 1 custodian is getting dressed in under 90 seconds. They will arrive at the bronze door with steady hands and an unsteady chest. They will stand at their post. They will not ask questions. You watch the corridor feed on the monitor. You recognize the posture, rigid, alert, uncertain, already beginning to adapt. You feel nothing. You note everything. This is not what corruption looks like from the inside. This is what a system looks like when it finally has no friction left. The cycle doesn't need you anymore. It just uses you to run.